Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know you haven't seen me in a while, but guess what? The bitch is back.
Yeah.
I'm here to stay.
It's about time.
I know, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys all know who I'm sitting here with, one of my best friends.
They don't know who. They don't know who.
I know, they'll be like, that dusty, crusty ass bitch.
Yep.
But if you don't know, I'm sure you do. Dustin Dailey.
We just posted a video over on my channel.
Yes, we did. So, the purpose of this video today is we want to talk about some paranormal experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, if you know me and you know what I'm gifted to do, you know, I have them all the time.
It's always something with you.
It is always something.
She be calling me. I had a conversation with this old dead man last night, and they kept me up all night.
Yeah, they do sometimes. Yeah, they talk to me all the time.
Uh-huh.
Well, I want to know about other people's experiences because I have my own. I'm used to them by now. Sometimes they still kind of scare me a little bit, especially seeing a spirit in daytime. That'll freak you out a little bit. But I want to know about yours. I want to know about other people.
I've had quite a few. A really simple one to start with. When I was maybe like 13 or 14, my uncle had cancer and he didn't have anybody to take care of him. So my mom brought him to our house to basically die. He didn't have anybody to care for him, so she didn't want him to be alone. So they brought him over. He stayed with us a month or two, and then he ended up passing away. Well, I was maybe like 17, so it was a couple years later. And in my mom's bathroom, there's these big mirrors on the wall. So when you're looking in the mirror, you can see in the shower.
Mirrors on the wall?
Yeah. So,
okay.
So I had got out of the shower. I was butt naked. I'm sitting there. I'm like brushing my teeth. I look up in the mirror, and behind me, I see my uncle staring at me. I didn't even grab a towel or anything. I just ran stark naked through the house. My mom's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "My uncle, like your brother is in there. Like, he's telling me something."
Yeah. So
I had that happen. But I had another experience, and it was actually one of my very first YouTube videos that I ever done. It was about a paranormal experience that I had with the Ouija board. I've had quite a few. I had this friend that lived literally out in the middle of nowhere. There was nothing around. So me and my friends would all hang out on the weekend, and we would play with the Ouija board. Well, one night...
I highly suggest against.
Well, one night we all played with this Ouija board. And so, like, every time I play with the Ouija board, it really moves. And I don't know why. Because the house in St. Augustine...
Do you want me to tell you why?
Why?
Because you're inclined to spirit.
I believe that. But we were playing with this Ouija board... And it started telling my friend that he was going to die in a fire, telling him all kinds of different things. It would say its name was one thing, and then it would say it was something else. So, of course, we were, like, freaked out, but my friend, like, he didn't believe it. He thought I was moving it when I really wasn't.
Yeah.
And it just kept telling him all these horrible things that were going to happen to him, whatever. Well, we put it away. At the time, I didn't know you had to close a Ouija board off, right? We wake up the next day, and literally every single picture in the house is turned sideways to the right, and there's like cracks in the glass. There was not a single picture.
I just laugh because I tell people don't do it.
Single picture in that entire house that was not turned. I'm not even lying. Like, it gives me chills thinking about it.
Yeah, you got a little bit of goosebumps.
I'm telling you, like, it really, like, freaks me out. But the thing that came after that is what freaked me out even more. So a couple of months went by, and I was having, like, really bad luck. I had horrible luck after that for a long time. And
that's because you had an attachment.
I really do believe I had an attachment.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you did.
I know. I really do believe that I did. Well, I went to this psychic, and, like, there's even more about that. But I went to the psychic. She gave me a reading. She was like, yeah, like, the first thing that comes out of her mouth, she was like, have you played with a Ouija board? I was like, how would you know that?
Maybe.
And she was like, yeah, you have something that's attached itself to you, and it's like a bad omen. And then she tried to sell me, like, this $300 candle that she would burn that would get rid of it or whatever. And I was like, lady, I don't have $300. So I just dealt with it. And for a very long time after that, I had, like, really bad luck. But I ended up seeing that lady all the time because it was so weird because, like, in the mall, like, at the mall, across from the mall is where she lived at, but she ran, like, the meetings and things out of her house. I worked at Sears, so she was always in the Sears, and she'd be like, have you got rid of that thing yet?
Oh, she already knew you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
If she was real, she already knew you did.
Yeah, I've had many of experiences with the Ouija board, but that was like the worst one that ever like really like got to me.
Well, that Ouija board that you and Nick were messing with in St. Augustine. Well, when we were in that house in St. Augustine, one of the first, and you always do this to me, but I mean, a lot of people do anyway. When I was in the house, Dustin's like, "Do you pick up on anything?" And I'm like, "Do you want to know?"
Yeah.
And I told you, Mary was the female that was there, and there was there was a younger male, P name. What was it?
I can't remember.
But like Peter, Philip, something. I remember it was a P name.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember telling you this.
And I had forgot all about it.
And I mean, we were in that house in St. Augustine for a little over a week.
Yeah, a while.
Yeah, a little over a week. So it was like towards the end of the trip when y'all busted out the Ouija board. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't around. And it said Mary.
And then it said whatever the other name was.
Yeah, Philip.
Yep, it was Philip.
And I told you, I wasn't kidding.
But that house was really, like, it was a beautiful home. And I didn't get, like, a bad feeling. That there was, there was something ominous about the house, though.
You could tell, like, not eerie, but, like, a little...
Like, something's there.
Something's going on there, but it wasn't anything threatening. It wasn't anything scary. I mean, because trust me, if it would have been like that, I would have told you to go.
Well, no, girl, we did get a little scared because it was 3 stories, and on the 3rd story there was 2 bedrooms that were like side by side. I stayed in one, she stayed in the other.
I remember we were talking about it. There's towards like a certain hour at night, it'd be around like 4 or 5 o'clock hour.
Do you remember though? Because Nick had went to sleep and he was in the room that was directly below the rooms that we were in. Okay. Yeah, directly below hers. And we kept hearing something bang, like bang, 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 bang.
I mean, at Nick's room, you never know.
Well, I mean, that's very true, but no, he was like,
at the time.
When Nick sleeps, he's like dead to the world.
Yeah, he's out, yeah.
There's like, I heard it too, and you were like, girl, I almost came and got in the bed with you.
Yeah, no, it was come and get in the bed. I was like, ugh.
But there was like old pictures in that house too. I wonder if those were those people.
I don't know, but see, the only spirits I was picking up at the time was Mary and Philip. And there wasn't anything negative around them at all. Now, what I think it was, and I remember saying this to you, what I really think it was is I think, because Philip was a younger male, I would say anywhere between 10 and 13, I think he wanted to mess around with people. And, I mean, one of the ways that they would mess around is kind of scary a little bit. We are their entertainment sometimes, you know? So I think that was him more making noise and us being like, ooh, shit. Because I could feel him around sometimes. I would feel Mary more in the daytime, and Philip would come around more at night. But Mary was nice. I just think she just wanted to be there. But it did, because it never really felt negative to me. I didn't really ever see anything. If I would have tried to see them, I could have, but I could tell that they just kind of wanted to be left alone. And I remember y'all were talking about Philip and Mary. I was like, listen, you're going to be calling them forth. You might want to leave them alone because you're going to get more than what you bargained for.
Well, yeah, we had another experience too because obviously it was a couple months I had came down here and I had never been to Pulse before and I wanted to see it and go like look at it at the memorial or whatever. And I never asked you that. Are you able to just turn it off or is it just there?
Okay, this is going to sound really silly, and I hate to openly admit this sometimes, but I'm very blunt about it. Okay, you know the Harry Potter movies?
Yeah, I hadn't watched them.
Okay, in the Harry Potter movies, God, I feel so dumb saying this out loud. Harry Potter has a cloak of invisibility that he will put around him, and you can't see anything.
You just envision yourself
to try to close myself, sometimes I will just envision that around me, and it kind of like, it's like a stay away kind of like beacon. Most of the time I don't turn myself off. I leave it on. And there is something I know I've told Nick, I'm pretty sure I told you, we live very close to where that tragic event took place of Pulse. We could probably get in the car and get there in 3 minutes, if that. I go in that area all the time to frequent some stores there, and I have to listen to loud music every time that I go by because I can hear screams. Well, and I hate it.
We had went there because I wanted to see it and I wanted to sign the little
I mean, it's a
book.
beautiful memorial now.
Oh, yeah,
it's
gorgeous.
absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's horrible what happened there,
Right.
but she kept saying, I can't remember, you said you saw like an Asian guy or somebody was coming to her.
I know there was a African American male, and I could see that. I don't remember what I saw about him.
Regardless, suffice it to say, to get to the point,
I don't remember what I saw about. I remember him. But
we saw his picture after the fact because there's like a memorial there, and we were looking at him, and she was like, "That's him."
Yeah, well, that's him. Because I mean, honestly, to explain what it looks like, around the whole entire building is like millions of pictures and signatures and stuff, and it's not even just of the victims; it's just of like afterwards,
firefighters, paramedics.
Yeah, I mean everything, and even like the celebrations afterwards and everything. So there's millions of pictures around, and then around the gate, around the building, there's 2 million more pictures on there.
Yeah, there's pictures everywhere.
I mean, we were circling the building for a while, and I just kept seeing this guy in my head, and then I was like, "Oh, hello, there he is." And I mean, I didn't look at a name or anything like that, but I found him, and I mean, I'm not surprised that I stumbled upon him, just because that's normal for me.
Is that weird? Like, I know you said that when you drive down the road, you can, like, impulse, you can hear, like, screaming and things, but, like, somebody walking down the sidewalk, like, have you ever had an incident where you're, like, you can see that something comes through for that person, or, like, have you bumped into somebody in a store and...
I don't have to touch them, no.
I mean, not like, I don't mean like physically touch them, or I meant bump in, just like run into somebody and be like, oh, somebody's like trying to talk to you.
Yes. And I don't approach those people. And a lot of times, like, before I even, like, if I meet someone and I don't really know them too well, I ask them what they think about this kind of stuff, because I'm not going to infringe on somebody and tell them something that they might not want to know, might not be prepared to hear. Because I don't want to hurt people. Because that's, I mean, what I have is a very unique gift. And, when you're talking about, like, because Aunt had explained to me that not all psychics are mediums, but all mediums are psychics. I have a lot of things I'm able to see and do. I mean, honestly, I would say about 10 different things. But I always want to try to see if people are open to that first, because if you were a stranger to me and I just walked up to you and I started telling you about your mom or your dad that had passed away or something, I mean, that could break your heart.
That could be a little abrasive,
yeah, you don't want to hear it or anything like that. So it's kind of hard to kind of like gauge. But I do pick up things from strangers.
Where you're like that, I'm like that with numbers. I'm really good with numbers.
You are very good with numbers.
I'm very good with numbers. It's so weird. We were at Denny's and I like guessed the amount of the receipt.
To the cents,
girl. To the cent, and then there was another conversation we were having about something.
And we were outside in the patio, and I remember something. You were just saying it
really
again.
Weird.
I was like, "Oh shit, bitch."
Maybe it's because I'm like around you. I don't know, but I've always been that way with numbers.
You know what's funny though? When I'm around Aunt, I'm more amplified, so I could amplify you in a way. Maybe. I do think that you have a little bit of like ability to you. I can't really pinpoint it, but I know that you are more apt with spirit.
Well, I know that I'm an empath, girl. I feel everybody's feelings, and it gets on my nerves.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm empathic. I am sympathetic, and I do have empathy for people.
Do you though? Sometimes.
Listen, I'm nicer than what I look. But one of the ways that I do pick up things a lot of times, like when I read people, when I'm doing readings, when they have like pain or anxiety and stuff, I can feel that. And I wouldn't really necessarily say it's empathic. It's just, maybe it's just part of like my psychic or mediumness that I can feel those types of things, but it hurts sometimes. So I, feel for you as being an empath.
Oh girl, what is it like?
It hurts.
What is it like to go into a hospispral? That sounds like it. That sounds like hell.
I don't like it.
I don't like hospitals regardless.
I don't like graveyards. I don't like hospitals. I just like anything where there's a lot of death around. I live so close to the coroner's office that I sometimes when I pass the coroner's office, I get that how it was explained to me is I am kind of like a lighthouse with a bright light on it, and you have spirits that are just kind of free roaming, and when they see that light's going on, they go, "Ooh, you," and they'll come make a beeline for me. Now most of the time I am able to kind of like, you know, shield them away if I just don't feel like talking to them. Sometimes they just kind of want to come and look at me just because they're just like, oh, I can talk to you. Oh, hello. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of is what it is. You know, it's not like they run across people all the time that can hear them or see them or acknowledge them. And a lot of times that's what they just want is acknowledgement. So sometimes if I acknowledge them, I'm like, hey, we're cool. And they'll just kind of leave me alone. So, I mean, to answer your question, long story short, yes.
Have you ever had an experience, like, have you ever had an experience where you're, like, dead asleep and then something just, like, wakes you up?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
I don't like that.
I wouldn't like that.
I like to sleep. But most of the time, the experiences I have had where I'm dead asleep and something wakes me up they're not friendly.
Yeah, no, that just sounds scary.
Well, I'll tell you real quick, you know, so the video doesn't get too long, but I was sleeping in bed with my ex-husband, and I woke up. I was having a very hard time trying to wake up. And this was like over a couple years ago. And I remember my body just felt like it was turning. And I couldn't, I tried so hard. I was awake. Like, I was very much awake. I fought so hard to be able to open up my eyes. And then when I finally was able to open up my eyes, like, I remember my husband was to the right of me. And I just remember seeing this dark figure in the corner by him, standing by him, like standing over him. And then when I looked at it, I must have given it the death stare or something because I was pissed. One, don't wake me up out of my sleep. But I was pissed. And then it just dissipated into the corner. Now, the funny thing is my husband at the time, he lifted his head up and he's like, why'd you hit my head? And I'm like, I didn't. Go back to bed. And he just went back to bed. And then the next morning, he's like, what was that last night? And I told him about it. And he always knew that I had these abilities and I could do these things. But he was more scared of that kind of stuff. He's like, I know it's there, but I don't want to see it.
A lot of people are afraid.
I mean, honestly, when I started seeing things that I've seen some things that I really wish that I could unsee. I've started to get very numb to it. Sometimes spirits, when they pass, they show you how they passed, and it can be very gruesome sometimes. And those are not things that I necessarily really want to see, and I'm kind of a little hardened to it, I guess, at this point. So, so that's just that's the tip of the iceberg. But as far as like doing readings on people and stuff, it's pretty easy for me at this point. So, you know, seeing strangers and stuff is not difficult for me at all. No. It's more fun than you think. I mean, it has a lot of positives to it. I mean, I've been doing so many readings lately, and every time where I do readings, I mean, they're almost in tears, and they're so happy that I'm providing them either comfort or helping them. Like, even when I was doing a reading about your sister, to sit there and know things and know that people are at peace and you know, that things are okay, and that, you know, they acknowledge that they're still watching them and they're over them. That provides people a lot of sense of comfort and peace, and I'm glad that I'm able to do that. Yeah,
but sometimes you predict the future too, so that's a whole different can of worms.
Yeah,
that's a whole different can of worms.
Sometimes it's things you don't want to know. Yeah. But all right, well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be making more content. I'm sure I'll have Dustin on my channel more often. Yep. Maybe have Nick come up, you know, he'll scuzzy up my channel a little bit. I know. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching the video, and make sure you subscribe. Go over to Dustin's channel if you don't know who he is, but I'm sure you already fucking do.
Girl, whatever.
He needs the subs.
I do.
He needs it.
I need the help.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Bye. Guys.